All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're traveling back in time to set the stage for the 1978 World Cup. Now, this was a tournament entirely defined by an absolute cauldron of pressure and sky-high expectations. And right in the middle of this intense, honestly suffocating atmosphere, one man rose above it all. A relentless striker with flowing hair, boundless energy, and just an absolute hunger for the biggest stage in the world. His name? Mario Kempes. And today, we're going to explore exactly how he etched his name into football immortality.
I want you to just imagine for a second the crushing weight of an entire nation relying almost entirely on one person to deliver on home soil. One man, one nation. Immense pressure. That wasn't just a dramatic headline for the papers, it was the stark, inescapable reality for the host nation, Argentina. You know, in world football, there's normal pressure, and then there's World Cup host pressure. The stakes literally could not have been higher, and all eyes were laser-focused on whether their talisman could truly handle the immense weight of those monumental expectations.
Part 1. The Unlikely Star.
Before the summer of '78, Mario Kempes wasn't exactly a global household name. In fact, he didn't even play for any of Argentina's massive, historically dominant domestic clubs, like Boca Juniors or River Plate. Instead, he made a name for himself across the Atlantic, trading a bit of domestic obscurity for the spotlight in Spain. He became a powerful, direct, and just absolutely fearless star for Valencia CF. I mean, he was dominating Spanish football, scoring goals for fun. But back home, critics and fans alike were waiting with bated breath to see if he could actually translate that incredible club form to the ultimate international stage.
But when the tournament kicked off, well, it began with an agonizing, suffocating drought for the striker. 90 minutes passed in the first match without a single goal. Then a full 180 minutes by the end of match 2. By the end of the third match, after 270 minutes of relentless running, constantly working the channels and trying to create space for his teammates, his goal tally sat at absolute 0. Look, for a striker, goals are your currency, right? They're your oxygen. And despite giving absolutely everything physically, the ball simply wouldn't go in. You can imagine the creeping doubt and that mounting anxiety building across the entire watching nation with every passing minute.
Which brings us to Part 2. The Turning Point.
Every great tournament story has that one moment where the script just flips. For Argentina and Kempes, this arrived in a critical, high-stakes, must-win match against Peru. They didn't just need to scrape by, they desperately needed goals. And finally, he delivered. 2 massive goals. In that do-or-die scenario, Kempes shattered the deafening silence of his critics with an absolutely dominant performance. The floodgates were officially open. It proved to everyone watching, both in that roaring stadium and around the globe, that the striker had finally arrived, stepping out of the shadows right when his country needed him the most.
And that sets the stage for Part 3, the final showdown.
We're now entering the World Cup final against a formidable, deeply talented Netherlands team. The tension is unbearable. Quite literally, everything is on the line. And the match unfolded as this chaotic, emotional roller coaster. First, Kempes stepped forward, driving past defenders with total purpose and striking first to make it 1-0. The stadium erupted into pure euphoria. But the resilient Dutch team fought back fiercely, eventually finding an equalizer that stunned the home crowd into a nervous, breathless silence. This pushed the game to the absolute limit. Extra time. Legs were heavy, lungs were burning, and the tension was just suffocating. Everything hung in the balance. Then, amidst a desperate scramble in the penalty box, there was Kempes again. He fought through the chaos and found the finish to make it 2-1. A monumental goal that defined an entire nation. When the final whistle ultimately blew on a decisive 3-1 victory, Argentina was crowned champions of the world. And Kempes? He walked away not just lifting that iconic trophy, but absolutely draped in personal glory. He finished as the top scorer of the entire tournament and the undisputed match winner of the final. This triumph completely cemented his incredible transformation. He went from a player riddled with doubt after those first 270 minutes to an immortal legend and the unquestioned face of victory.
Let's move on to Part 4, a complex legacy.
So, having looked at the sheer volume of his goals, it's crucial we analyze the man behind them and how he actually played the game. Because Kempes wasn't your traditional striker just waiting passively in the penalty box for a cross. He constantly dropped deep into the midfield to demand possession. He actively carried the ball forward with these driving runs, taking on defenders and creating absolute chaos in the opponent's defensive structure. Honestly, he was a forward truly ahead of his time, flawlessly blending raw physical power with sharp, visionary tactical intelligence. He didn't just finish plays, he originated them, orchestrating the attack from the ground up.
Now, it is important to note that 1978 was not a simple, straightforward story. Immense political controversy surrounded the tournament off the pitch, casting a highly complex shadow over the historical context of the whole event. However, amidst all that complicated history and the surrounding noise of the era, Mario Kempes' sheer footballing brilliance on the pitch remained a stark, undeniable reality. The athletic achievements, the relentless drive, and the tactical mastery he displayed were very real, forever marking his place in the sporting history books.
And that really brings us to a universal takeaway here. Very few individuals ever have to carry the weight of an entire nation on their shoulders. But Kempes did exactly that. His journey teaches us an incredible lesson about resilience. He didn't just score goals when the momentum was easy. He absorbed the crushing doubt, navigated the suffocating pressure of a host nation, and delivered the ultimate prize when it mattered the absolute most, achieving sporting immortality in the process. I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to chew on. Given the painfully slow start, the immense host nation pressure, his revolutionary style of play, and the ultimate glory he delivered, is Mario Kempes actually the most underrated World Cup legend in the history of the sport? Think about his enduring place in history compared to other global greats. If you enjoyed this journey into football history, make sure to subscribe for more cinematic explainers. Thanks for learning with me today.